What is going on, fishy friends? Rich here, Rich's Fishes, and I don't know what day we're up to on the 12 days of Rich's Fishmas, but I have yet another setback in the fish room.
Fishy, fishy, fishy.
Dun dun dun. I got a boo-boo. And it surely doesn't look too bad with just a band-aid on it, but I stupidly cut myself while sharpening a carving knife in my kitchen last night and had to spend a few hours in the ER until about 2 a.m. and had to get about 5 stitches to wrap that thing up. So I had plans to start rescaping tanks and moving fish and stuff, but I can't get my hand wet. Well, not that I can't get it wet, but I certainly can't submerge it. So I'm gonna have to put off the immediate plans I had. I wasn't really gonna do anything to this tank, but I was gonna do is move some of my discus around. I was thinking about taking those 2 discus out of there, and him out of here, and the other Tiger Turks and stuff, and moving them over into the 72 bow front. But before I could do that, I was going to completely revamp this tank. I did give it that good cleaning the other day. I got some plants coming back to life down here, which is nice. The duckweed is still growing like crazy, but you know, no longer looks like you can walk on the surface. So hopefully with a couple more scoops of duckweed, I can get rid of that. I'll probably end up scooping out the substrate. What I have down here is a dirt substrate covered by pool filter sand and some gravel. And that dirt is relatively old, so it probably no longer has the nutrients and stuff that were so beneficial to the plant life when I had this tank planted. And now it's just a mess, and it's probably kind of gross. So before I start putting discus in this tank and trying to rescape it, I definitely want to clear all that stuff out. So we will get to that sooner or later. And then in that same tank, I was thinking about putting all these guys. Yikes, the shape on that one really isn't looking so hot. That one's not so bad. Focus on him. And then also the 2 red covers over here. Speaking of which, let's get some food in some of these tanks. Let's see, I'll put a little freeze-dried bloodworm cube in here. Do the same over here. What's wrong? You guys aren't going to eat it if it's not sticking to the glass? Give me a break. I was going to say, I know you're just going to pull it off again. Sometimes I'll put 2 cubes in this tank. I think tonight I'm going to keep the 1 cube in there, and I'll follow it up with some flake food in a little while. Let's see, who else? The rest of my cubes here. Threw a couple down on the top of the washing machine. Go over this way and see how quickly the angelfish try to devour this. Fairly quickly. This tank I will put 2 cubes in. I've got 7 good size angels in here. Here's my hand for reference. And these guys just devour it. I love watching them. These angelfish have become, I think, my favorite fish in the fish room. It's probably my favorite tank in the fish room. Part of that might be because of how well this thing has reacted to my neglect recently and how good the tank is doing overall, considering how little effort I've put into it. You know what I thought was really interesting the other day? I was looking at these red tiger lotus. I initially had 1 red tiger lotus bulb that I planted in this tank. Now you can see there's a couple of different groupings of plants. There's there, over here. Where else was I noticing the tiny little sprouts popping up? There's another one down there. In the back there. What I think is interesting is how much it's migrated. It's all the way over here in the front of the glass, and I wouldn't have planted it that close to the glass. You know, I initially probably had my first plant back there by that one dark stone. And, you know, that particular plant has receded and faded away, and the plant has propagated itself so many times. Oh, look, here's another red tiger lotus leaf all the way over here. You know, so it must send out some runners or something that I was unaware of. I didn't think bulb plants like tiger lotus did that necessarily, but apparently they do. It could also be going this way, but this way I've just got a mess of moss. I got really thick moss. You know, I just threw in a handful of it, and it's just spread everywhere back there. You can see it back there on the driftwood. And for some reason it's doing really good about sticking to the driftwood back there and not just spreading out wildly in the tank. And there's just another big chunk of moss all the way over here that goes down from that corner and all the way up, and you can barely even see it. Maybe if we look down into the tank, that's some of it. Then I got the riccia over here that kind of floats and sticks to the top of the driftwood, and there's different mosses that kind of melded in. So this tank has been doing very well. Let's see, a couple more bloodworm cubes, blackworm cubes. This is that discus that I had been worried about in the past, and I am again very worried about. The gill issue is still there, and you can see how thin this fish is. I have been neglectful, and I think there is still something affecting this fish. I'm hoping I can bring it back to life, so to say. It ain't dead, but it certainly isn't doing very well. What else do we got? The big guy. Everybody else will get some flake tonight, I think. Let's see, what do I got here? Blackworm flake. I can't open it with one hand. And my other hand is injured. Alright, so we'll take some flake. I got the single male German blue ram down in here the other day. There was a female only a week ago, and after I did that big water change the other day, I ended up finding her dead the next day. I was a little upset about that, but again, because of all the neglect, it's not all that surprising. Single ram in here, give him a little bit of flake food. There's a single ram back here, we'll give him a little bit of flake food. Over here in the glowfish tank, my little girl's tank. Watch all the tetras go crazy while they get some food. All up here, where there's that black skirt tetra somewhere. And then down here in the Apistogramma honxloid tank. It's funny, there's so much detritus in this tank, but it seems to just, I don't know, the tank sustains itself very well. There's a couple of the little guys that have been born in this tank. Where was that other one? I just saw another one. There are, I can physically see 2 of those juveniles currently. I think there's 4 altogether. I think the big male is hanging out in the cave there. One of the females, oh boy, where'd you go? Is about there. Oh boy, there goes the male. Where'd he go? Back into the cave. The other female just dumped into that cave. I don't see the other juveniles right now. It's amazing, for this little 10-gallon tank, these fish hide really well. But this tank is still in need of some good maintenance. I gotta keep scrubbing this one. And let's think. The whole fish room is a mess from when I did my demolition upstairs in the kitchen. I had debris and stuff falling down through the floor into the basement here, and I still haven't had a chance to clean all this stuff up. The top of my water heater is just covered with debris, you know, and we're looking up into the floor at my kitchen from below down here. Speaking of which, that reminds me, there it is. See the white pipe sticking out of the floor? That'll be the new incoming line for water and ice for my new refrigerator once I get that. Obviously, I'm gonna have to finish the work and actually hook that pipe up to something. Maybe I can hook it up to a fish tank. All right, so a little more flake food to go the other way. So she got that freeze-dried blackworm. Hopefully she'll start eating. The big guy over here, we'll get some flake. And run away from it for some reason. He'll eat it soon. Let's see, what else? A little more flake. A little bit of flake in here for the red rainbow. Whoa. A little bit of flake down here for the two red Turks. This is the tank. Everybody might remember that the upper tank brace broke on me a million years ago. So I keep this tank purposefully low because I don't want to have a blowout. And let's see, we will throw a little more flake over here where we already gave the angels some of those cubes blackworms, but now some of the flake will trickle down to the bottom. The few remaining rummy nose that are in here, there's at least half a dozen left. They'll pick at it. There's that zebra loach down there on the bottom somewhere. He'll forage through the bottom and get what he needs. And that one big Siamese algae eater, who was showing some aggression. I know it's not right to have a single Siamese algae eater, and he kind of picks on the rummy nose. And this right here is not a stain on the tank. This is the sheetrock wall behind me that reflects on the tank that makes it so difficult to film over here. Anyway, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for a quick little feeding in the fish room. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.